Welcome back. We're going to start again with our first presentation on ethics and values, which is about the Shah, forgive my pronunciation, Women's Park in Iran. And we have Ali from Arsh 4D to tell us. Now, he has to rush off immediately afterwards, so unfortunately won't take part in the conversation afterwards, but I'd like to hear about the project. So please tell us about it.
And thank you, everybody, and I'm happy that I'm here. Okay. Perhaps the main concept of the project lies in the comparison of these two statements. The first is the name given to the project, and the second reflects the reality of society. Before the 1979 revolution, we had a rich cultural diversity in our country, which was very well reflected in women's attire. However, after the revolution, the government tried to eliminate this diversity and freedom, aiming to achieve cultural hegemony by enforcing a uniform dress code for women. The effort invents strange sport attire and ultimately the retreat of people into a double life. This social restriction led to women's protest and eventually led to women's protest and resulted in one of the largest civil protests after the revolution under the name of Women, Life, Freedom. In these years, the regime has sought not to remove this barrier, but to beautify it. For example, they said if women cannot run comfortably in parks, we will build parks exclusively for women, surround them with the tall walls so they can't be seen from outside. And then women can exercise however they like inside. In this way, women were excluded from a significant part of society. This diagram shows these parks with their 6 meters high walls have separated women from the rest of society so they wouldn't be seen while exercising. Here we see other example of these beautiful parks. Women inside these walls do not have right to take their cell phone to take any photos. And our information is limited to aerial image. Various functions are scattered within this wall. As you can see at the right diagram, that's how it park works. In 2023, a project titled Women's Park in Shah Shahar was referred to our office. At first, we think we didn't do the project because it was against our belief. But then we realized they would build it in the worst possible way. So we asked ourselves, can we add a value to Women's Park while still meeting their requirements? To begin, we reviewed the diagram and we decided to dedicate a large part of the park to public space. Then by arranging the required building according to the program, we sought to create a physical barrier instead of a wall, thus eliminating the wall altogether. However, we still couldn't fully prevent women from being seen. And this is the site of project, which is in Shah Shahar. It's near Isfahan, center of Iran. The site situated in a residential area, as you can see. And for designing the project, we were inspired by the bubble definition. We want to examine the meaning of the word bubble, the literal definition and scientific definition that you can see here. And these are some other characteristics of bubble you can see here. A bubble bursts under external pressure, though surface tension works to maintain its form and contain the air inside. Based on the definition we gathered for bubble, we arranged the building like cluster of bubbles next to each other. The main characteristic of this impermeable and hard wall is their temporariness. They separate one thing from another, but time creates doubt in their strength. We can see a different type of building, which you can see here. The solid black one are the function which work with a courtyard, like swimming pool and gym. The white one are the open space, and the gray one are the one who work with both inside and outside. With this tactic, spaces that were only accessible to women in some extent could work both inside and outside at the same time and could play a role in blurring this boundary. You can see how we get them together here, different functions. And we have an idea of the future of the project, what would happen if the regime has changed their approach, their insight to the women, and what could we do with this project. We decided to destroy 3 open space and encourage the people come to the project and make it like a conventional sports center. And convert it to a timeless project. Here you can see the other part of the project, actually the other part of the park dedicated to a cafe, a pedestrian bridge which connects the park to the residential area around it, and an agriculture, urban agriculture in the park, and a football field. And this is the program which they wanted us to have 100% women's park just dedicated to them. But we changed the diagram. Here shows how we push the boundaries and minimize gender segregation here to dedicate 75% of the project to the public space and the rest 25% to women. And these are the shape of the project. There are some simple cylindrical form with positive and negative slope. With this solution, we were able to have a homogeneous form that is resolved in the urban fabric and does not have an iconic aspect, as otherwise it would have become a beautiful skin drawn over an ugly reality. This is show how it works inside. It's got a very simple technology. It's made of brick, which is cheap and available in the neighborhood. And this is the aerial view that shows how it works with the neighborhood and the pedestrian bridge, which associates with residential area around it. Another view of the project. And it shows our strategy in form design that create a non-iconic form that could still spark curiosity in the viewer. This is how the project is seen above this pedestrian bridge. The playground inside the sports center. And here we can see short movie. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go, I must give you your presentation, your focus. Okay, we're going to move straight on to hear, I think, about a really, really important issue, which is how to reconstruct Gaza. And the project originates from Islam El-Meshtuli, a long-standing friend of WAF, and his firm Design and More International.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think it's really important to start the project with the code that we have a very good architecture here in WAF, but I think I came this year to really to present a process and a case more than architecture project. So speaking about Gaza, actually it's go beyond me as an architect, but I think me as a human, and I think this touches all of us. We see the genocide, we see the deconstruction, life through the social media every day, and also in the same time we see the silent world do nothing around this. So actually this number, it was since we did the presentation, and it keep increasing, and each number here it means something. It's life of peoples and families that already been displaced and being killed, and also most of 70% of them it was women and children. So I think it's really important for architects actually to speak about this. We always speak about sustainability, building new cities on the desert, and very ambitious goals. On the same time, there is so much destruction happen in the world every day. So despite this genocide happening now, I think we can learn that from the people of Gaza, the dignity and how they show us to be a resilience. Despite all what's happening to them, I think they have this kind of famous slogan and quote: "We'll be on this land as long as we have the olive and thyme." So actually, the purpose of this research, it's not a project, as it's more about research to understand the agriculture heritage of Gaza through the time. But before doing this, it's really be good to go through the timeline to understand, because maps, sometimes it didn't lie, so it's good to rely on understanding the map. So the historical background, this is how Palestine and Gaza was. It's lived peacefully with the nature, and you can see the source and the dates behind each one. And it has this kind of reimagined, I would say like dreamy imagination about how they live in peace with the nature around. And during the Ottoman period, as you see here, Palestine, it was a cosmopolitan city that everyone was welcoming from any religion, any culture, and this was very evident on the look of the people, the way how they act and dress, and the culture there. And also it has a unique architecture characteristic, which is it's keep diminishing by the time, because the fact they keep displacing from a place to place. You cannot see any significant architecture come now from Gaza or Palestine, because they are under constant movement and displacement. But you can see the connection. They always have this connection with the land, and the agriculture and the landscape. It was so much embedded on the culture there. It was called the land of peace. Everyone was celebrated by its own culture in one place, and what I call the spirit of the place. It has a spirit which is keep going by the time. The most important fact, they have the culture of agriculture, and most of us may not know this, because I think even ourselves on the team were trying to explore what does mean the agriculture in this context. As you see here, it's already in a very good fertile land, and the land, it has its own richness, the fruits and the olives and the thyme there. It's very magnificent. And this is Gaza. Actually, this photos does not exist anymore, but you see was a certain architectural character. It was there. Then what happened through the British mandate, what we call it the Balfour Declaration, when he stated that a land without people for people without land. I think it was the first genocide act. When you deal with a land without people, it's like a giving permission to kill the people, and for the people without land, those people has a land. But so I think this is the first point happened when you give an order for someone to take the home and kill the others by this. And the Balfour Declaration said that a people without land, for land without people, but actually there was people, and as you see here in the photo, there is a woman was protesting against the Balfour Declaration. But it's not only this, also during the UN plan, it's been divided. Palestine became like the West Bank and the rest. And during the 48 war and the Nakba war, and as you see here, this image is from the 1948, but still happening till now. So they are under constant of this war. Then from the war of 67 till now, the land has became more smaller and smaller. So the idea of this is a very cultural thing. When you keep diminishing the local value of the place. So before, from a place that has character, and we call it now strip. We call it Gaza Strip. So it's like trying to bring them value down. And what does it mean to be in a strip? It has an issues like healthcare issues and education issues, and the quality of life is going down. But they keep resisting by having the agriculture as a source of economy, source of living, and as you'll see in the next. But it's not only this, they keep declining the place relevance. It was a strip, and later on became a prison. So from a strip to a prison, and not only this, it became the biggest open air prison in the world. So I think it adds to the more challenges to the place. However, agriculture, it was the way also for them to survive and to be alive. And as you see here in this graph, they are not only feeding the local community, but also they are exporting. So actually we see the agriculture that comes from there from very low technique, using local technique and tactics, which is inherited through them to produce agriculture. And then after the 7th October war happened, I think it became from the biggest prison in the world to a completely destroyed land. So I think we all see now on the TV. So the idea is that Gaza is under a repetitive and continuous and ongoing war, that if you are a child who's 16 years old, born in Gaza, you're born in a refugee camp, and you witnessed almost 5 big wars. So I don't know, I think there is no something called post-trauma in Gaza, because it's always continuous trauma. But however, they still resist, and they keep the idea of resilience with the agriculture, and this is actually the purpose of our research here, to show that the war, there is no winner in the war, in my opinion. Everyone loses, and we destroy lives and families. So I think we see the images that we get from the social media, how the form of resistance being created, and also the act that comes from the natural people there. Like you see, this is through the social media, and the references are there. The moment that the war can stop for some hours, they making a cultivated lands and trying really to use this as a source of living. And some interview said that this guy said, my home is my farm, and are really trying to use any simple techniques to relate them. And because the agriculture there, it's a culture, it's an economy, and also it's a way of to survive. So I think our proposal really, it's became more a process rather than an architecture project, and it's that we build from what's available, build from what's already left there, and build from what they already know, which is the agriculture. And this is the available resources that it could be there. And we started really to think about all the cases that we can find, how we can bring really a container gardening, also how we can really utilizing the rebels and make agriculture on top of it. And also the last case, which is we believe the land, it needs so much time to be healed, like human, which is I call it collective healing for the land and for the people. So I think the idea is to go through this kind of multiple landscape. So we think about what we can do now. Like, this is just a simple methodology that really how the things can work by using a container gardens and try to use the low techniques or the low techs that available to have a source of life, which is, I think, because the war is not only about the political conflict, but also there is a food and hunger issue. Like, I really been touched about a lady being filmed in the TV. They said, I'm not worried about my kids being killed, but I'm really worried because they killed when they were hungry. So this is so much like, you know, it was a very touching point, and it was really the motivator why we're doing this kind of for effort. So again, like, this is just reimagining the now. But we think about the near future, really how we can think to use the available there, that or whatever left inside the context there, and start to really build the community, and this community to bring the buildings together in a coherent manner, that even it will not be destroyed later, because I'm not sure that the war even can stop soon, or even it will not be repeated into the future. So we're thinking about to use whatever left there and trying to create a home, and we make sure that each home has its own garden that they can cultivate the landscape there. So actually, the idea behind these visuals is not to show really like a dreamy CGIs, but I think it's really to show that how we can utilize whatever left, and how this can grow through the time. And the far future, actually, we envision really how to go up from the images and drawings, because as I mentioned, the land is very contaminated now, so you cannot build now. So thinking about the multiple grounds or the multiple landscape, and the media keep insisting that they live in tunnels, and I think this sketch we're trying to really to say that they don't live in tunnels. They celebrate life, they love life, and this proposal actually is trying to bring the life from the underground to the sky. So just a simple diagrams that how we can really use the current situation by building this kind of shelters, that it will be connected together and create a vertical landscape, that it helps people really to change the image, which is Gaza for a long time being labeled as a place of war, which is I think it's part of our duty really to change this image by bringing a kind of happiness through the architecture. So this is just a kind of the layouts of the homes when it comes together and create open space, and having this kind of open courtyards that bringing the nature inside. And this is some views to show that how this landscape can grow and having life. So I think the image which is keep since many years, I think so more than 20 years now, this is what we all know about Gaza. I think at least we need to change this perception, because these people deserve life and they live with dignity, which is so much important for us. So we call it a landscape of resistance, but I think it's really important to highlight the fact that we all human beings really we have to live together in a peace and give them a better life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for a really imaginative and significant project. We're going to move straight on to our final project in this section, which is the Surabaya Urban Transformation Project in Indonesia. And is Monique here from Broadway Malian to talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to share this project with everyone, because this is quite something for us as well. And so this project is a project with UK FCDO, and together with Surabaya government, and also with the with Mott McDonald's. We're partnering with Mott McDonald's, UN Habitat, and EY, UNTAC Surabaya, and also with ITDP. And it's part of the Global Future Cities program. It's located in the center of Surabaya, and it's about 24 hectares neighborhood that is used to be the largest red light district in Southeast Asia. So it started in the 70s, and at that time it started from Gang Doli, so that was the name of the person there. And it grows to become the region's largest red light district. And at that time, at its height, about 2000, there were about 9,000 sex workers in the areas. They were displayed on the street like an aquarium. There were about 60,000 pounds per night revenues, a lot of illicit guest houses, and there's a lot of other businesses as part of the red light district as well. And even though it's excluded, it is also not seen like by the kampung. So people were kind of like embarrassed by the areas. And then until 2014, when suddenly the sex industry was shut down overnight by the mayor, by the mayoral decree, and people lost their income, and suddenly like people's livelihood change, it gets affected, the kampung gets affected. Residents, businesses, the sex workers move from the kampung, and ever since there has been a lot of interventions with the government, although it has been quite sporadic. And what they actually need now is the comprehensive, cohesive planning and engagement effort, one that actually put people first, put them in the center of the developments. It is an ongoing process. And how we started it, and then it becomes an extraordinary that is taking place. So this informed our transformation process, which we call it red to green. And it was red, it was the red light district, there was a lot of issues. And at the present, the urban transformation processes, we are not starting from zero, but we are continuing what has been done before, but how we can actually create a more sustainable communities. And through that, we have 4 pillars that are going through concurrently in the processes. We have the active engagement and the collaboration, inducing change and inspiring growth, the targeted capacity developments, and demonstration and duplication. We have gone through hundreds of engagement with different stakeholders, different community groups, people with disabilities, women's group, government, university. We have set up a task force within the community themselves. We have mapped out through our on-the-ground survey, and we've put onto a GIS, and that becomes their assets as well. We have gone through created a UDGL, Urban Design Guidelines, with the mayoral decree, and we have set up as well a KPI together with UN Habitat and the Surabaya government, and that has been ongoing as well, and through with the 4 reports that we have developed. So now we want to take you through on the process, which is first is the active engagement and the collaboration. We started it before the pandemic, and we went through with dialogues with various communities. This is one of the areas where in the kampung, we started with community engagement with former sex workers, with women's group, with community leaders, also with the youth and children, making sure that women are engaged. And we have always had GESI expert, gender and inclusions expert, and as a team we were trained and how we can actually doing the community engagement, and it's all very community planning. And with this community engagement, I think through these regeneration projects, one of the important things is how we actually put people first and engage them through from the start, the vision of the project, through all the creation of the project, the vision, and in the monitoring as well. So we've explored with them, we bring them together into the process, and also understanding the special challenges in the areas. We work together with the universities, with the academia, and we bring them into the site, and also like a partnership with the university, and also how we can actually do like the community engagement with the SME. And we've also looking into like a community entrepreneurship strategy, because on the regeneration process, we are looking at the entrepreneurship strategy, the tourism kampung strategy, and we're also working with the UN Habitat. And the second one is inducing change and the growth, and it's about creating a place branding, but it's not about creating place branding, but how the community wants to be seen. So it is an iterative process. It's been like a evolving process with them, and we're going through what actually is in the community, developing it together. How do they want to be seen from the world? And how do they see themselves? And this place branding is also in the spatial planning iterative as well. And we are also looking at the collaborations with the entrepreneurship, the local entrepreneurship. So the branding becomes like the SME, and it becomes like the place for them. And we're also looking through the capacity building with the communities, through training, entrepreneurship training. And this is through online as well, how they can actually access financing, how they can do digital marketing with Meta, urban farming, training with them. And these are communities who, at that time, they probably didn't have emails, and that was like the first time that they are actually gathering to do this capacity building. And through this entrepreneurship strategy, like developing the kampung businesses, financing options, and also we've looked at the branded products. So it becomes the place itself, like a kampung tourism. And then just last year, we brought them to Singapore in Orchard Road, and bringing the SME from Kampung Jolly to introduce it to the world. And also the renovations of the Islamic figures, prominent Islamic figures in the communities. So it's turning the perceptions from red light district into a religious tourism. And the third one is the targeted capacity buildings. And we've gone through this process with the creative industries, with the local creative industries in Surabaya. And with this was very interesting because this was the entry point to get to the youth communities. And initially, they don't really care about like, okay, well, why are we here? But through this, because this is something that they actually care and they're actually excited about. And this becomes like the entry point of sustainability as well, because they are the one who will continue the efforts. They will be the one who continue the projects moving forward. And so this becomes like their way of getting through this trauma in the past as well for the women and the children and the girls. And we've also partnered with Cambridge University Press. So this is part of like the program on the capacity buildings, giving literacy to the Kampung Jolly. And the last one is about demonstration and duplications. So we've gone through about urban design guidelines and how the kampung tourism, the regeneration process is captured, and through engagement with the communities, which routes that they are going to prefer, what are they proud of their neighborhood. So we've crafted it with them, mapping on the assets as well. And then we think about, if we have a big visions, but how do we start? So we start with 2 pilot projects, and we start small, but we act fast. So we can already create something that they can already feel the benefit of it. And this is one of the small projects that we have in one of the kampung, which is the Kampung Jolly. And then also creating like an open air museum, so how they can actually see themselves, and also share about their experience with the Surabaya people and the tourism as well. And creating like a different projects, like an alley, which is the alley for them is a living room, is their part of their living room, part of their everyday life. But how this could actually be showcases as well, and as part of like the tourism neighborhood, and how it can be transformed in the evening, and through like a study between like public and private experience as well. And we're looking at like assets like the playgrounds, and currently the playgrounds is being used for like for crime. And then now that it's actually we're using a different way, so we bring in different functions into the playground as well. So the brand acts as the voice for the people, and is the catalyst for change, transforming the public space and creating new visibility. And also that we have this created like on the branding effect, the place branding. So it's about the regeneration that is not on the physical, it's physical as well, but it's also about the giving them the sense of ownership and how they want it to be seen. So that's the before and after, and also with the playgrounds as well. And throughout the process, we've also get through the Kampung network. So how the opportunity for scaling up, and with this project that we are gathering about 150 kampungs from all over Indonesia. So they create a network within themselves, and that creates the multiplying effect, which is interesting for the other people as well, like Cambridge when they come in, and then how it can be shared from Kampung Doli to the other people as well. So real change is driven by continuous dialogue, which we have until now, and we never stop with that. Thank you.